Well, good morning, Renovation. And those who are in the room, great to see you guys that are here, and looking forward to seeing some of you in person real soon. There we go. A couple of things this morning I want to talk to you about before we get into the message. And one I'm excited about. The other I wish we didn't have to do, and I'll let you know why. First is, again, I'm excited to announce that after a significant amount of prayer, watchfulness, and preparation, we are planning on going from pause to play and resume Sunday morning in-person gathering next Sunday, August 16th at 10:30, okay? That's the exciting part. The part that I wish I didn't have to do, but it's much needed, is to take time and communicate how our Sunday gatherings need to work for the foreseeable future, okay? One of the things I realized in June, maybe I didn't communicate enough. We tried to by the written word and mention a little bit here by our email updates. But I thought I'd take some time this morning to make sure, in order for us to be able to get there, that would be, that you may need to hear from you in this way. So I am going to take that time this morning. And as we've said from the start, and man, when it started, we believed 5 months ago that we would be still talking about this, but here we are, right? And but our intention has been from the get-go to be watchful, prayerful, and thankful. After our June 14th in-person gathering, as many of you know, we pushed pause because there had been a significant increase in positive COVID-19 cases in our community. Some most likely disagreed. Some thanked us, especially some of our healthcare workers thanked us for pushing pause. We were and we are trying to be part of the solution in the community by trying to love our neighbor, and we have felt like this was the best way to do that right now, besides other things, as you well know, that we talked about last week in the blessing strategy. But that was one way. Since June, we've been monitoring, and maybe you have too, but we sure have been, and where we are as a community, but looking at new guidelines that maybe have come out, best practices, maybe new things, again, that's been put in our community, and we know some of those are in place. But I wanted to use the visual that I have said to the staff since really day one, when we were talking about reopening, and I'm a very visual person, so maybe this might help you. I don't know if we have the slide of the 3 gas gauges. I know they look a little different, but the 3 gas gauges, and I feel like that on the conversation around COVID-19 specifically, we have people who are on E, who feel like they don't really have any concerns whatsoever, and they're just rolling. We have people on full who have significant concerns and may not come back at any point till there's a vaccine and maybe plus. I don't know, and I'm not trying to make light of that. I don't know, but they're full. What we've attempted to do as we reopen in June and again this time is go between around 3/4 of the time, but maybe between 1/2 and 3/4 of people who have concerns, we're going to land there. So that's what we're trying to do right now. So I wanted to give you a visual, but for those who are most concerned, the rest of us can adjust, right? But for those who are most concerned, that we want to feel, as many who want to come to feel comfortable, that is our target, just so you know that. So that's what we're trying to do. And as we said in June, we believe that this will require partnership with you guys. You know, here at Renovation, we've never really used the term membership. We've always used the term teammate. That means we're working in this together. Members sometimes, and I'm not knocking it, sometimes indicate privileges or benefits that you get, and maybe that's the case. But here we're talking about being a teammate. We're working this out together. And so that's where we need your help on. And if you come, those who did come in June know that we've redesigned the worship, the sanctuary here in the worship setting, and we congregate outside. As you come in here, there's more distancing, and we've got touchless experience as one of the things that we've tried to do, so you really don't have to pick up anything if you don't want to or touch anything. So we worked hard on that. But because of that, we have limited capacity. Okay, so what we're going to need you to do, again, as we did then, is to reserve seating, and I'll let you know more about that in just a minute, but reserve seating like we did then in June, and reserve as a family unit. And by the way, there's no Reno kids at this point. That's probably sometime, hopefully in September, we can go back to that, but we'll see on that. We'll keep that monitored also. or as a friend unit. And what I mean by that is if you're already hanging out together and you're already, clustering together, and what I mean by that, congregating together without mask or with mask or however you do that, we don't mind you doing that either, but we just want to be clear, we're not going to force anybody with somebody else. I hope that makes sense. So we need to reserve seats. We really believe that worked really well in June, and we're going to do that again. And we will be getting a regathering update communication out to you by midweek this week. But much of it's the same, but there's a couple of things I just want to make sure I make very specific note of this morning. And we'll make it on the update also. One is this. We ask all who attend to wear a mask or face covering while worshiping with us. Different than June. In June, we encouraged it. In June, we recommended it, okay? Those are the kind of things we did. But this time, we're just asking that you do it. And if you don't feel comfortable do it, then continue to join us on live streaming online until we can get to the season where that may not be necessary. But right now, we are asking to do that. Second thing is social physical distancing. Yes, we're trying to follow the CDC guidelines by that. Even our local, obviously, talks about that. But we are asking for this season not to be hugging, not to be doing handshakes, those kind of things. And I want to say this, I know it's hard. I am one of those people. And I was always been a handshaker because I was raised in the car business. But I never was really a hugger till I became a Christian. And something happened. But right now, I'm holding off on that. I don't even hug Jan at home. No, I'm just kidding about that. But my point is, for this season, for us to get to do what we hope to get to do here, we're asking that not happen on campus here, unless it's with your family, okay? That's what we're asking. And again, we're trying to gauge this towards people who are at 3/4 of a tank. And try to make them feel as comfortable. And the last thing I want to do is somebody to come here and me go to hug them, and they don't know what to do, and it makes them feel uncomfortable. They don't come back next week. I want to respect that. I want to love my neighbor, and that's the room I'm going to give them right now. Okay. Here's some things we're going to assume. In order to regather in person, there are a few things that, again, as we look at this, we assume this, but I want to touch on them. But sometimes maybe it needs to be said. One is, we have to assume those who are knowingly sick will stay home. Seems simple, but we have to, in order to move forward, we have to work with that assumption. And along with that, those possibly who are in a higher risk group for a while, even this first season, they will stay home and continue to watch in our live stream, and we will continue to do that, friends. We want you, who knows, we may do this from now on, but we're sure going to do it because we want you to be a part of this. So that's going to continue, so don't worry about that. Second thing is, we assume that those who come want us to continue to meet together. So, they want us to meet together so much they will be a part of helping us make this happen. Okay? I know I hesitated there, but I just want to say, engage the practices and protocols we're putting in place, please, because we want to continue to do this, and we're going to try, so we need your help, friends. And number 3, and again, this may state the obvious, but in this season of COVID-19, we assume that everybody that's out and about agrees that simply being in the public right now carries some potential health risk if we're paying attention and if we believe what our authorities say. So we assume that some who will attend our worship services will unknowingly be COVID-19 pre-symptomatic or asymptomatic. Our hope is, even in those instances where someone may even test positive the following week, the health and safety precautions we'll have in place next week will allow us to be reasonably safe in the environment we're in today. That's why the precautions are there. And again, we encourage everyone to help us with them. So how can you help? Read the midweek gathering that we're going to send out this week, a regathering update that's coming out this week. And just to read through it again, even if you've read it before and you've heard a few things, we ask that you read that. The air conditioner's working well in here this morning. Reserve seats as a family, or like I've already talked about. And again, no Reno kids, so your children will need to be there also. We ask all who attend to wear a mask or face covering while worshiping with us. If you have your own, please bring it. However, we will have masks available if needed. Social physical distancing. Follow the CDC social distancing guidelines. For this season, we ask all who worship with us not to hug, handshake, etc. Wash, sanitize your hands, don't touch your face. The CDC guidelines that we've all heard and memorized and can quote from it. But let's do that. Stay home if feeling sick. And last, but I'm not saying least, but it is in the sense that if you are coming, and if you're not even, the first part of this, pray for us. Pray for us. We're trying to figure this out as we go. We want to continue to do this. But if you do come with great expectation and excitement. Come here, come prepared, come ready to worship and engage. And we can do this, guys. But I'll tell you this, Reno family, we're counting on your partnership and your cooperation for us to do this well. We can do this. And I tell you, June 14th, those who came, you realize how much you've been missing. And I hate it for those who right now who may be in a high-risk group or not ready to come back. You are in our prayers, and we're going to do everything we can to make you feel as at home. And it may even make you feel more engaged if there's people in the room, even though you may be at home. But we're going to try. We ask for God's blessing on it. Let me pray for us as we move into the message.